Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. Tonight's final drink is from Buffalo Trace. This is their Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, single barrel pick done by Wise Guys Liquor, coming in at a 45% ABV. Now, personally, I've never found a Buffalo Trace store pick on the shelves here in Indiana. Anytime they were there, they were gone in the same day. And shockingly enough, Wise Guys Liquors, which is up in the northern Indiana market, had like a what do you want to call it, like an allocated drop day, essentially, where they had some things showing up and they had kind of a ticket system going on there. I didn't go to it, I just didn't have time, unfortunately. But they still had these left over, like almost 2 weeks later, and I'm like, okay, and I just happened to show up at the store, and I was like, guess I'll take one. It was reasonably priced in my opinion, and again, I've yet to ever have a store pick done by Buffalo Trace. Now, their proof point stays the same, and it's that classic Buffalo Trace profile to it. But I'm really excited to see how much of a single barrel difference there is comparatively to an original Buffalo Trace bottle. So, let's get into the bottle itself and see how it goes. Now, store picks, if you're unfamiliar with it, you'll always find these stickers on the side telling you that it's a store pick, and usually they'll have a emblem or the store's name along the side here. So, as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hang around for a bit, become a member if you'd like. If you're interested in some other reviews that I've done over Buffalo Trace, those links will be up above and down below for you to check out. We're going to be doing an A/B comparison between this and the standard Buffalo Trace. We'll do a whole video on that. And I might do a video between this and like the European version of Buffalo Trace that comes in actually at a lower proof point. But for the longest time, definitely during the bourbon boom, Buffalo Trace was one of those bottles that people were clamoring for, hunting for nonstop. And I'm happy to see that we're finally starting to see some markets not only get them in, keep them at a reasonable price, and now store picks are showing up. Beautiful light golden color. No official age statement on here as Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey goes. Tends to be about 4+ years old. And again, single barrel, so if you're not familiar with what a single barrel means, is essentially they take everything in that barrel and dump it into bottles. So every single barrel will have a slight variance because typically whiskey is blended to fit a profile, where these will taste different depending on what barrel you end up picking, which is kind of interesting, a lot more fun. So, let's go for notes on Buffalo Trace. Actually, that is a lot different on the nose than what I typically find. Get a lot of spice on there. Typically for me, I find a lot of like almost candy, and it's a sweeter bourbon, a lot of cake, like a cakey bready note going on. Here, I'm getting a lot of spice, cinnamon, and oakiness. There is a sweeter underlayer to things, like a green apple sweetness. Bit of ethanol on there, but it's not overly strong on it. Brown sugar galore, almost to the point of like bruleed brown sugar, like a little charred, little toasty brown sugar. A lot of nice raw honey notes on there too. Again, that's definitely a little different than what I typically find in Buffalo Trace, and I'm digging that. No real off notes, there's nothing harsh about it. Like I said, if anything, there is a little bit of ethanol on there, but it'll probably open up. Like very classic Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, getting that kind of vanilla, the oaks, the chars, that deep underlying kind of a creaminess to things as well, almost like a custard. And then that brown sugar is really standing out in the nose. And I'm loving that. You definitely get a bit of rye spiciness in there too. Just got a nice spiciness going on in there. As I keep going back, I am just digging that more. I'm almost getting like a cedar note. Just a light bit of cedar spice going on. Yeah, that is fun. A lot different than what I was expecting. Let's go for a taste. Drink's slightly different for me too. A lot of spiciness on this one. Oh man. Getting a little bit of that cakey note that I tend to find like almost like dessert cake, but tons of cinnamon and clove. Brown sugar definitely are showing up here. Deep oakiness as well. Great play on the palate. Doesn't come across strong in the ABV on the taste itself. Nice simple linger to things. Little spice from the wood sugars going on. And that's a nice oakiness. That is a nice pick. You guys did good on this one. I am digging that one. I mean, yeah. The overall flavors are very common to your Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys. A lot of oaks, vanillas, caramels, that brown sugar. Beautiful legs on it. That is pretty. But the spice levels on this one are top tier. It is a lot more spicier than I typically remember. Not quite as sweet as I remember, especially when it comes to Buffalo Trace. So I'm assuming that single barrel pick they were going for was really aiming to be more spice forward versus sweet forward. This would actually make a really nice old fashioned. Like that would just do wonders in there, I feel like. Obviously, I would have loved to see them, do single barrel picks at higher proof or even cask strength Buffalo Trace. I doubt they'll ever do that. But I'll tell you what, that is a good sip. Finding some of that raw honey, kind of that honeycomb note, drizzled of honey. Little, almost granola now for me too after I said honey. Love the grain forward profile on there. A lot of sweet corn, dustiness, that rice spice, little pinch of barley in there. Yeah, that is definitely... I'll be interested to do the A-B comparison now against this in the standard Buffalo Traces. I feel like the spice profile on this shows up tenfold comparatively. Alrighty, let's talk about a grade for this one. How about that? So, single barrel picks always vary in pricing. It's always going to be all over the place. I end up paying $35 for it, and I don't think that's a bad price for a good single barrel pick. Typical Buffalo Trace tends to be at about the 25 to 23 to sometimes the 27 range, usually that mid 20 mark. So $10 more essentially for a barrel pick of it. I'm fine with that. I've seen some stores shoot these as low as $30 if you're lucky, but just assume that you're going to be paying more for it because of it being a single barrel pick. I give it a very solid B-. I think it's still a very approachable bourbon. I love their spice forward profile on this pick. And overall, that's just enjoyable. Easily crushable. You can take that with some buddies around a fire. Everybody gets a dram of it, has a good pour, and just really takes in a great pick from Buffalo Trace. So I tend to float heavier on the single barrel picks that companies do. So big thumbs up on this one, guys. Keep up the great work. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Buffalo Trace, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Single barrel pick done by Wise Guys Liquor. If you have any questions about the bottle itself, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific spirits I should go looking for, also let me know down below. Love doing these reviews and sharing with you the experience at home. And as always, may our last drink of the night be the best one.
And I really like it might